Coming up, bus driver charged after 2 children and 3 adults were killed in a chain reaction crash yesterday in Virginia.
It appears clearly a high rate of speed, but the precise speed we've not been able to determine.
What investigators are saying about the charter bus that slammed into traffic at a work zone, and new details about the family killed in the collision. Virginia deputy killed. There's a manhunt underway right now for who police say shot 2 officers overnight. What allegedly unfolded and how the officer is being remembered for his service. Concert replacement? President Trump says he wants to headline a rally on the National Mall after musical acts backed out of performing a concert series for America's 250th, what he proposes in D.C.
And it's a beautiful start to the weekend. Will it continue into tomorrow? I'll talk about the details and your temperatures and all the good stuff coming up in just a little bit.
We love the good stuff. Plus, we love supermarket savings. We're talking dollars and cents to keep cash in your wallet before your next grocery visit, finding ways to stretch your dollar. All right, breaking news tonight on DC News Now at 6. Charges filed. Virginia State Police say the bus driver involved in yesterday's crash that killed a family and another adult and sent 44 people to the hospital is now facing 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Good evening, I'm Ben Dennis. Investigators say more charges against Jing Dong of Staten Island are pending. We're now learning the names of the victims killed in this horrific pileup crash. State police say 25-year-old Priscilla Mafalda was driving the Chevy Suburban that was first hit by the bus. Her SUV was pushed into an Acura with a family of 4 inside, which caught fire. A relative of the family says Dmitry, Ekaterina, and their 2 children, Emily and Mark Donchev, were traveling to a wedding. Emily, 13 years old, and Mark, 7 years old. We're told the couple immigrated to the U.S. from Moldova in 2008. And that relative says the wedding will go forward tomorrow in South Carolina, and it will be a time to mourn their loss. Meantime, Mary Washington Healthcare now says 15 of the 19 people hospitalized at their facilities have been released. 4 people remain in the care of doctors, one of them still fighting for their life. Right now, you can see today, the NTSB briefed reporters on the latest into the investigation. DC News Now, Dave Laval joins us live after that news conference. Dave, a lot of unanswered questions. What did investigators have to say?
Well, right now, Ben, everything is preliminary. As the NTSB said, it's investigating everything as it tries to find out exactly what caused this deadly crash.
Investigators with the NTSB examined the charter bus that's now at Sullivan's Towing in Fredericksburg, Virginia. It and the other cars involved in Friday's crash have been moved there as part of the investigation. The burned-out remains of this Honda Acura are where 4 of the 5 people died as the charter bus bound for Charlotte, North Carolina from New York City slammed into 6 cars at a work zone on I-95 near Quantico.
It appears clearly a high rate of speed, but the precise speed, we've not been able to determine that yet.
Tom Chapman is an NTSB board member. He says his investigators are looking at everything connected to the crash, trying to find out what caused it. Virginia State Police identified the bus driver as 48-year-old Jing Dong of Staten Island, New York. He's an American citizen who Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said Friday does not speak English.
We are still assessing the driver's language proficiency, and we don't have enough information at this point to have drawn any conclusions there.
Virginia State Police announced late Saturday afternoon they charged Dong with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter, with additional charges pending.
On behalf of all of us at NTSB, we offer our deepest sympathies to the families and friends of those impacted by this horrible tragedy.
The NTSB said that it expects to release a preliminary report on the crash within 30 days, while it will take at least a year to determine exactly what caused it. We're live in Stafford, Virginia. Dave Laval, DC News Now.
Thanks to Dave. This, of course, is a developing story. We will continue to bring you the latest updates on air and online at dcnewsnow.com. Happening now, a manhunt is underway for a man suspected of killing a sheriff's deputy in Southwest Virginia overnight and shooting another deputy. Police are actively looking for Michael Puckett. Here is his photo. They say he should be considered armed and extremely dangerous. The Carroll County Sheriff's Office says deputies responded to a welfare check in the town of Cana around 9:30 last night. They say 2 deputies got in contact with Puckett, and that's when he shot them. They returned fire. Deputy Logan Utt was killed on scene. The sheriff described Utt, who you can see on the left there, as a devoted husband, loving father, and a cherished friend. He served on the force since 2023. The other deputy who was shot ended up taking that bullet in the bulletproof vest and are reportedly in stable condition. If you have any information about Michael Puckett's whereabouts, you're urged to call 911. Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger says Deputy Logan Utt's sacrifice is a testament to his bravery and dedication to his community. Going on to say she and the first gentleman are praying for Deputy Utt's loved ones and for the deputy who was also shot. In the district, a man who was rescued after falling from a boat dock in Southwest has died. Officers from D.C. Police's Harbor Patrol Unit say they pulled the man from the water at James Creek Marina, that's near Fort McNair, around 10:30 last night. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition. This comes roughly 2 weeks after a Maryland man died after being rescued from the Anacostia River. Montgomery County Police are investigating a stabbing tonight after this occurred in an apartment complex this morning following a fight. They say a 35-year-old man was found stabbed at the Tanglewood Apartments in Silver Spring on Manchester Road. Officers responded around 9 a.m. They say the victim knew the person who stabbed him. No one is reportedly in custody. All right, much more local news to get to, but first we'll take a live look outside the U.S. Capitol. Looking mighty fine. Man, it was quite the opposite of how we were forced to spend Memorial Day weekend. Last weekend, Scott Sumner, I know you have been tracking all of the positive forecast news that we are really looking forward to.
Absolutely, and yes, a beautiful live shot there of the Capitol and a quiet and a nice shot here out towards Ocean City, Maryland. There were a couple of people out on the beach just a little while ago, not seeing that at this particular moment in time. We have carved out for ourselves a nice looking weekend. High pressure in Canada is building on in across the New England states as well as the Mid-Atlantic, pushing this front further and further south through the Carolinas down towards Georgia, and that's allowing us to see a decent amount of sunshine today, and that will carry over, like I said, going into tomorrow. The only detriment to the weather today has been the bit of a breeze, but having said that, it's a nice, cool, refreshing breeze. Not a human one, that's for sure. 60s and 70s throughout the early evening period. Again, continuation of an early evening breeze. So those overnight, we'll see those winds relax quite a bit, and Fido will enjoy it as well as yourself. As far as weather headlines, less wind, like I said, overnight. Sunny skies on Sunday. Spot shower on Tuesday and heating up in June. We'll talk all about it with the 7-day forecast coming up.
D.C. families in Ward 8 came together today for an afternoon centered on wellness and access to mental health resources. May is National Mental Health Awareness Month, and WellPoint D.C. and Horton's Kids say the goal of this fair is to break down barriers and make people feel comfortable about talking about their struggles.
Black and brown people are historically afraid to talk about the things that's going on with them. And it's very important for us to get out that message, especially as an entrusted partner in the community, that you can come to Horton's Kids and we're going to connect you to resources that's going to help you, and you don't have to be afraid.
Fresh food was also given out at the fair, along with nutrition education and free asthma screenings. There were also some fun activities, like we just saw face painting and a moon bounce. Who doesn't love a moon bounce? Staying in D.C., more than 10 organizations came together today to host the first ever D.C. Youth Peace Festival. Kids joined in on talks about nonviolent conflict resolution and understanding as organizations look to arm them with the tools needed to become leaders for peace and positive change.
I think right now is critical for youth to get involved with peace work. So to see hundreds of youth come out for this event, yeah, it means everything to us.
There were also interactive booths, speeches, and a dedicated peace walk. Well, President Trump has lashed out after a federal judge blocked his planned Kennedy Center renovation and ordered his name to be removed from the building. The judge ruled the Kennedy Center board overstepped its authority, saying only Congress can rename the institution, and that the board's vote to close it for renovations was not legally justified. The president argued, quote, "There has never been a president of the United States who has been treated so unfairly by the courts as I." He also said he is backing away from the renovation effort and wants to return control of the Kennedy Center to Congress. Now to the war in the Middle East. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the U.S. is ready to restart strikes on Iran only if a deal is not reached. His comments come as he met with allies in Singapore today, while President Donald Trump considers whether to move forward with a proposed deal that would extend the ceasefire and reopen the Strait of Hormuz. News Nation correspondent Hannah Brandt reports from the White House.
We are in watch and wait mode here at the White House after President Trump met with his advisors for 2 hours in the Situation Room yesterday to talk about Iran. He's not made a decision yet about whether to move forward with the deal on the table, but the president did lay out some of his red lines in a post on his Truth Social, saying Iran must agree that they will never have a nuclear weapon or bomb, also adding that the Strait of Hormuz must be reopened immediately with no tolls. He says Iran has to remove mines from the strait, and enriched nuclear material must be removed from Iran and destroyed. The president also saying the U.S. naval blockade will be lifted, but Secretary Hegseth says for now the blockade is still active. While on a visit to Singapore today, he told our Kelly Meyer the strait is something he's been discussing with allies.
Did you discuss that with them, and is that blockade still in place there?
The blockade is very much still in place, and the Strait of Hormuz came up relatively often. I believe not just what we're able to do and are doing, whether it's known or unknown in the strait, but also other countries putting pressure on Iran. Once a deal is had, or not, depending on the choice they made, it will be a open strait, a toll-free strait that the entire world can use, which is the way that it should be.
U.S. CENTCOM also announcing it just stopped another commercial ship as part of that blockade, saying there was a Gambian-flagged ship in the Gulf of Oman that ignored several warnings from U.S. forces. So a U.S. aircraft fired a missile into the engine room to disable it. At the White House, Hannah Brandt, News Nation.
A lot of developments. Hannah, thank you. Coming up, changes to DC's SNAP program, the new qualifications you and families around you need to know about. Shopping the grocery aisle, got to get it done. That's why we're helping you stretch your dollar with how to save on your next trip to the store. And ahead at 6:30, a new crackdown on fare evasion effort by WMATA to ensure people are paying before hopping on the bus. Stick around.